ولا تنكحوا المشركات حتى يؤمن ولأمة مؤمنة خير من مشركة ولو أعجبتكم ولا تنكحوا المشركين حتى يؤمنوا ولعبد مؤمن خير من مشرك ولو أعجبكم أولئك يدعون إلى النار والله يدعو إلى الجنة والمغفرة بإذنه ويبين آياته للناس لعلهم يتذكرون. صدق الله العظيم وبلغنا رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Surah Al-Baqarah 221. وَلَا تَنْكِحُوا الْمُشْرِكَاتِ حَتَّى يُؤْمِنْ. Do not marry mushrikat. Do not perform nikah with mushrikat, polytheist women. حَتَّى يُؤْمِنْ, unless they bring iman, they enter the fold of Islam. وَلَأَمَةٌ مُؤْمِنَةٌ خَيْرٌ مِّن مُشْرِكَةٍ وَلَوْ أَعْجَبَتْكُمْ. A slave girl who is Muslim is better than a free Muslim, than a free polytheist or mushrika, polytheist woman. Even a slave Muslim girl is better than a free polytheist or mushrik woman. وَلَوْ أَعْجَبَتْكُمْ. Even though she may attract you, that even if you are attracted to someone who is a mushrika and they are free and they are of wealth and a status, compared to them, a Muslim girl, even though she may be a slave, she is better. And this is the decision of the Quran. وَلَا تُنْكِحُوا الْمُشْرِكِينَ حَتَّى يُؤْمِنُوا وَلَعَبْدٌ مُؤْمِنٌ خَيْرٌ مِّن مُشْرِكٍ وَلَوْ أَعْجَبَكُمْ. And do not marry mushrik or polytheist men unless they bring faith, and a Muslim slave is better than a mushrik man, a polytheist man, no matter how much he may attract you. And the reason is أُولَٰئِكَ يَدْعُونَ إِلَى النَّارِ. They invite you to the fire. وَاللَّهُ يَدْعُو إِلَى الْجَنَّةِ. And Allah calls you towards Jannah or paradise. وَالْمَغْفِرَةِ بِإِذْنِهِ. And with His will, forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, maghfirah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَيُبَيِّنُ آيَاتِهِ لِلنَّاسِ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَذَكَّرُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes His verses clear for people so that people may pay attention to the advice that is given to them by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, may heed the advice. There's a few things that should be mentioned, and this is very relevant to us living in this society. There are a lot of times people think that a Muslim man marrying a non-Muslim person, a woman, and a non-Muslim, and a Muslim woman marrying a non-Muslim man. So there's a few rules that the Sharia has explained. First of all, expressly in this ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has forbidden to marry a mushrik, somebody who's a polytheist. Technically speaking, in Sharia and through the different ayahs and the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ and the example of the Sahaba, a Muslim man can marry a Christian or a Jewish woman. But the criteria is that they have to be real Jews or real Christians. So they have to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they have to believe in Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam and his Sharia, and they have to believe in Akhirah. Because the common thing between Muslims and Jews and Christians is that they all believe in the judgment day and the hereafter. And such people are rare to find. Even the people who call themselves Jewish, the people who call themselves Christian, they are in reality atheists. They do not believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They have no relationship with the Sharia, with the commands of Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam, and they have mere belief in the Day of Judgment, and most of them even don't have that. So the people that we interact with on a daily basis, they will not qualify as Christians or Jewish people. The second thing is that for a Muslim woman to marry a non-Muslim man is expressly forbidden. Be them Jewish, be them Christian, it is expressly forbidden. The reason is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows the nature and how He created women. Men are naturally stronger in their belief, and women in their relationship of marriage have to be subservient, have to be following and obeying the man more than a man normally obeys a woman in their belief and in their practice. So for Muslim women it is expressly forbidden. For Muslim men it is permissible but highly despised, highly disliked, that a Muslim man marries anyone other than a Muslim woman. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that even a Muslim slave girl, somebody who's of no status in the society, is better just by virtue of their iman, just by virtue of them being a Muslim, having recited the kalima and believed in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They are much better than a non-Muslim woman. And the reason is that when there is marriage, there has to be attraction. For a marriage to be successful, there has to be attraction. And the special relationship of man and wife, that in the tafsir it is written that it necessarily results in love becoming apparent and establishing between the man and wife. So when there is love, then if one of these spouses does not believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, does not believe in the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, does not believe in the akhirah, naturally their love and their belief will slowly and gradually start inspiring the person who is a believer. So that is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, Ulaika yad'una ila nar, they are going to call you, as if they are going to slowly and gradually drag you, call you towards hellfire, disobedience, and resulting in hellfire from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wallahu yad'u ila jannah. On the contrary, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has chosen Jannah for you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is calling you towards Jannah. So why are you yourself putting yourself in a situation where you are driven away from the will, the happiness, pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Jannah? One question that has been answered in Tafasir is that we say that a non-Muslim can pull their spouse out of faith, out of iman. The opposite is also possible, that a man who's a Muslim and marrying a non-Muslim woman, or hypothetically speaking, although it has been expressly forbidden, if a non-Muslim man marries a Muslim woman, they can become Islam because there has to be love and they can pull. But the rule of Sharia always is, and the general logical rule is, that when you do something and there is equal chance of a positive thing happening and a negative thing happening, then the first priority is to avoid the harm. The first priority always, if we choose something where there is benefit and there is harm for us, we will try to first make sure that we avoid the harm. And the only way to avoid harm in this is to stay away. So much so that the Prophet ﷺ disliked it so much. The Prophet ﷺ even encouraged Muslim men that even when they are marrying Muslim men and women, they should look for those good in deen. Those are better than themselves in terms of deen, in terms of knowledge, in terms of practice. So how could it be liked or allowed that a Muslim man should prefer a non-Muslim woman over a Muslim spouse? In the time of Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anh, in fact, when Muslims were doing it a lot in Syria and in Iraq, in the Muslim kingdom, the Muslim empire had expanded so much, in the outskirts of the Muslim kingdom, Muslim men were excessively marrying non-Muslim women. When Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anh learned about it, he put a ban on it. Although the Quran, the Sharia permits it, but Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anh, looking at the situation, looking at the condition of that time, he expressly forbade it, that no man will marry a non-Muslim woman, no matter what. From this we learn that situation, Sharia also always keeps room and considers the situation that is going to be there. Although something may be technically right, but in present day and age, looking at the status of iman of a Muslim person, certain things can be allowed and certain things can be disallowed by the scholars of that time. Just like Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anh forbade at that time, if somebody is, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from that situation, but if somebody is even thinking of doing that, they should first go to a knowledgeable person, an alim of deen, and explain their whole situation to them. That what kind of Muslim matches do they have, what kind of non-Muslim options do they have, what is the status and their level of knowledge and practice of iman, and then get guidance from them. And at many times, it is expressly forbidden by the ulama to marry a non-Muslim person. And the other thing for sure is that if you marry a non-Muslim person, even though it may be technically allowed by Sharia, a natural consequence is that you slowly and gradually start to decrease in iman. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from that. The next two ayat, since we do not have any children here, we'll do those. They pertain to a particular thing of women. وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْمَحِيضِ. They ask you about menstruation. قُلْ هُوَ أَذَى. Say it is an impurity. فَاعْتَزِلُوا النِّسَاءَ فِي الْمَحِيضِ. So keep away from women during their menstruation. وَلَا تَقْرَبُوهُنَّ حَتَّى يَطْهُرْنَ. And do not have intimacy with them until they are cleansed. فَإِذَا تَطَهَّرْنَ فَأْتُوهُنَّ مِنْ حَيْثُ أَمَرَكُمُ اللَّهُ. But when they are cleansed, then go to them from that place where Allah has commanded you. إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ التَّوَّابِينَ وَيُحِبُّ الْمُتَطَهِّرِينَ. Surely Allah loves those who are most repenting and loves those who keep themselves pure. So the meaning is apparent that during menstruation, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has forbidden men to go to their wives. And when they are, the last part of the ayah, إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ التَّوَّابِينَ وَيُحِبُّ الْمُتَطَهِّرِينَ, refers to if somebody does that by mistake and then makes tawbah, repents to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala actually loves the people who seek forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One thing that needs to be paid attention to, فَإِذَا تَطَهَّرْنَ فَأْتُوهُنَّ مِنْ حَيْثُ أَمَرَكُمُ اللَّهُ. And this is explained in the next ayah further, that even when they are pure, when they are cleansed, men are allowed to go to their women only in that place where it is permissible, where it is allowed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from the front. And the next ayah, نِسَاؤُكُمْ حَرْثٌ لَكُمْ فَأْتُوا حَرْثَكُمْ أَنَّا شِئْتُمْ وَقَدِّمُوا لِأَنفُسِكُمْ وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّكُمْ مُلَاقُوهُ وَبَشِّرِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Your women, نِسَاؤُكُمْ, your women, حَرْثٌ لَكُمْ, they are tillage for you to cultivate. So they are like farms for you to cultivate. Tillage for you to cultivate. فَأْتُوا حَرْثَكُمْ أَنَّا شِئْتُمْ. So come to your tillage or come to your farm from where you wish. وَقَدِّمُوا لِأَنفُسِكُمْ. And advance something for yourself. And do not. So the first, let's just explain this part of ayah. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that they are like a farm to you. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is comparing the action with putting a seed in there. And from that growth forms, which is our offsprings. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is here, although Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying فَأْتُوا حَرْثَكُمْ أَنَّا شِئْتُمْ, that you can go to your crops, you can go to your place of growth from wherever you like. But here the Mufassirin have mentioned that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is still saying فَأْتُوا حَرْثَكُمْ, that you have to go to the place from where crops can grow. If you know what if you understand what I'm saying, you have to go to a place, to that place from where offsprings can come forth. No other place is permitted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَقَدِّمُوا لِأَنفُسِكُمْ. And do not get so involved in this that you forget about the akhirah, but وَقَدِّمُوا لِأَنفُسِكُمْ. Send something in advance for you, for yourself, to the akhirah. وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّكُمْ مُلَاقُوهُ. So do not forget the akhirah, and remember and know it well that you are going to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَبَشِّرِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. And give glad tidings, good news to the believers. So the good news for that day is only for the believers. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us among the ones who follow the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fully in letter and spirit. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. سمعنا وأطعنا غفرانك ربنا إليك المصير.